This is a 1982 Gewürztraminer Rhine Riesling. Everything has been harvested here in Upper Military, on our military land. And we got a silver, the national competition. And we got a silver, the Easter shower, so we got pleased with it.
Most people enjoy a glass of good wine, but Hermann Seifried takes more than a passing interest in the matter. It's his livelihood. He's familiar with the intricacies of such things as a tannin flavour or a good nose.
But we in a Gewürztraminer likes to have good colour, nice goldy colour. That doesn't mean a browny colour, not an oxidized colour, nice fresh goldy colour. The aroma should be nice and fruity from the Gewürztraminer should come through, and the freshness of the Rhine Riesling should be in that wine.
Hermann's originally from Austria, but home now means Upper Moutere near Nelson. He arrived in New Zealand 12 years ago and planted his first grapes in 1974. Hermann studied horticulture at college and winemaking at a German university, and then spent a couple of years at the giant wine cooperative KWV in South Africa. He now owns his own company, Weingut Seifried, the result of his unceasing efforts. Hermann now has almost 25 hectares and 2 blocks, the other blocks in full production. This new Redwood Valley block had been planted to the contour of the land, but that didn't suit mechanised operations, so many plants and posts have been realigned. Now the tractor can be manoeuvred between the rows. After a somewhat sticky start, Hermann hopes to increase this half of his operation from 20% to full production in 2 years. The subsoiler digs in 75 centimetres, which will give the roots of the new plants room to grow. Machines can't do every job on the vineyard, but Hermann's staff would give any machine a run for its money on efficiency. Hermann's white grapes are mainly Sylvaner, Riesling, Gewürztraminer and Sauvignon Blanc. His reds include Cabernet Sauvignon and Pinot Noir. According to Hermann, the best growth's from a light acid soil. This young Rhine Riesling should benefit from the lime and dolomite Hermann adds to bring up the soil's pH level.
It's starting to swell though.
With the amount of development they're doing, there's a constant need for more grafted vines. Agnes, Hermann's wife, is a New Zealander. As well as bringing up their 3 children, she's involved in almost every aspect of the vineyard.
So many years ago we used to graft by hand everything, and it was quite an expert's job to make a cut, to join those two, the rootstock with a European variety together. You just give them one nice straight cut a little tongue out of it, just like that. It certainly needs a sharp knife, and you do the same on the top. One cut and a tongue. When we're lucky, we'll push it together. Fits reasonably well, and that's the graft. But that's so you do 1,000 a day, or in a long day 1,500. You have done a good day's work.
That number suffers by comparison now that Hermann can do the job with a grafting machine. He can now pedal his way through 5,000 a day. Every vine Hermann plants is a grafted model. It'll stop the dreaded phylloxera disease, which can run through a vineyard like flu through a school. This machine's an old Austrian model which simply duplicates the hand-done method. Varietal cuttings are married to rootstock almost faster than the eye can see. Hermann originally obtained the rootstock, an American cross, from Ruakura. The grafted cuttings are covered with sphagnum moss and sawdust, but first Agnes soaks the moss in water and fungicide. After 3 weeks in an incubator, they're rootin' shootin' plants, ready to join the other 10,000 grafted youngsters in Hermann's nursery. When phylloxera struck the French vineyards late last century, they had over 300,000 hectares to replant. Hermann's ensuring no such disaster will strike his vineyard. In the upper Moutere block, each row has 5 metres between poles and a vine every 2 metres. The rows are 3 metres apart. It all adds up to a busy September pruning. With Hermann's love of machinery, it was natural he'd be one of the first to procure pneumatic pruners. They're now into their 3rd season of taking the heartache out of the job for Lois, one of the vineyard workers. At the moment, she's pruning 2-year-old vines, but if Lois wasn't careful, she could just as easily lop off a finger or a hand. Joan, another of Hermann's staff, follows behind the pruners to tie the vines down. Except she doesn't exactly tie them. Here they use a simple but effective way of keeping the vines in trim. Just untwist the wire and pop in the lateral. With the changing seasons, the vineyard presents quite a different face to the world. Summer's ripened the grapes, but unfortunately, it's not just humans who'll find them tasty. Birds are the bane of a grape grower's life. Hermann tries to keep them off with an automatic pop gun machine. And then there's the mobile scarecrow. By April, the grapes that survived the birds are ready to pick. All the picking used to be done by hand, but now it's for the areas where it's difficult for the grape harvesters to reach, or when the weather's been too wet to put the harvester through. The time to pick grapes is when the Brix, or sugar content, is at its highest. Sun means a high Brix level, whereas rain can dilute the sugar content, so the choice of when to pick is crucial. White grapes make up around 75% of the varieties in the vineyard, red grapes around 25%. In recent years, the market for white grapes has been the stronger, but Hermann says there's now a worldwide trend back towards red. Some pickers are faster than others, but they still can't beat the grape harvester. Hermann and an engineering friend went to Germany a few years ago to check out different models. On their return, they designed and built this one. It straddles an entire row like a colossus. When it comes to picking grapes this way, Hermann's riding high. He can adjust the machine for a wider, more bushy vine, which he believes no other model on the New Zealand market can do. He can also adjust the fiberglass rods that shake the grapes off at 800 beats a minute. The adjustment's necessary because some grape varieties drop more easily from the vine than others. The towers for cooling all the water used by the various machinery inside. Because the cellar's on the property, there's no delay between picking and crushing. Then comes the lengthy winemaking process, where the grapes will pass through a number of stages, all at a strictly controlled temperature. There'll be various yeasts and chemicals added before the juice turns into what we know as wine. This leafy pile will all end up as compost. It's the grape escape, but freedom's short-lived. After crushing, the grapes are raked into the holding tank, where they'll undergo fermentation. Because every facet of the winemaking process goes on here, Hermann is able to employ his 6 staff on a permanent basis. Before bottling, everything must be scrupulously clean. That means taking a bath at 160 degrees. Hermann pays 10 cents for an empty wine bottle, as they're in short supply. And so the fruits of the vine hit the assembly line. Hermann's brother Jürgen is the chief winemaker. He's checking there's no overflow of wine which could later turn into mould. Yet another part of Weingut Seifried is the wine shop. Youngest daughter Anna sometimes helps Agnes here. It's a real family affair, with everyone doing their bit to put Weingut Seifried on the map. Publicity is important for the small boutique vineyards. They're competing against a number of much larger companies who have many of the distribution outlets tied up. So Agnes pours most of her information into a newsletter, as the bulk of their wine is sold by mail order. The mystique of wine making and wine tasting has always fascinated people. It's not enough to have the best ingredients. Good grapes can later be ruined in the winemaking process.
But it's quite easy done. Just like a good cook probably can burn a good steak. And wine is just the same, you know, you have to be all the time awake and aware what's going on, what yeast is doing, you know, what bacteria are working. It has to be everything done properly, you know, to keep the quality up.